So I'm going to make this beautiful mushroom risotto, slightly different twist on the tail. So sofrito is the base, it's chopped white onions and a little bit of celery. And then I want to add the risotto rice. I'm using arborio rice, you can use canaroli, a handful per person, that's about right. Give it a little stir in. I reckon that'll be enough for sort of 2-3 people in there. And the rice will suck up all that lovely flavour there. Now while that's doing that, here, I've got some dried porcini, and my God, you know, when it's fresh, it's light and delicate and nutty. When it's dried, it's meaty and steaky, and it's like, wow, slightly smoky. So what I'm going to do is just get a bit of my stock. Stock is probably 50% of any risotto. So go for a vegetarian or a chicken organic stock cube. Make your own after a roast dinner. So we need to rehydrate these little babies. So I'm just going to give those a couple of minutes. Now, you can hear over here, the rice is sounding a little hot. And what I'm going to do is, you could use white wine at this stage, but I'm going to use vermouth, which is absolutely fantastic. So about a good shot of vermouth per person. You know, all the alcohol will cook away, but what you'll be left with is this fantastic perfume. So as soon as that's gone in, we stop the frying and we want to go into making risotto mode. Adding small ladles of stock every minute or so and giving it a little stir up, okay? So there's a little bit of a technique to it. Starting to get nice and creamy. Literally after a minute, hot, right? Beautiful porcini. And look in there. I mean, already just chicken stock and dried mushroom taste is incredible. If you're not feeling very well, have a little sip of that. In with the mushroom stock and stop right at the end. And very often you just get a little bit of sand and stuff. So never put the last bit in. So take that off. So already mushrooms has introduced itself to the risotto and benefit from that beautiful flavour. Now look, here on the board, just chop them up like this. And you can distribute the flavour everywhere and then straight in every last bit. And you know what? Dry porcini is never cheap, but a little bit goes a long, long way. So in with that, all I have to do now is keep adding stock and stirring it, massaging out all the starch until it's ready. So the rice, that's about 3 minutes away. Now, while that's just finishing off, here I've got some lovely wild mushrooms. I've got the girole, which is really, really nice. I'm just going to tear these up like that, nice and natural looking. One of my favourites, really, really beautiful. And then you've got pied de mouton, sheep's feet mushroom, great flavour and firm. So I'm just going to break those up, okay? And then here we've got chanterelle, beautiful mushroom, delicious in flavour. So here's the tweak, right? The risotto will be made and finished in the traditional way, right? But with the mushrooms, what I want to do is I want to put them dry in and around this screaming hot griddle pan. And what I want to do is create an environment where you really amplify that nuttiness. And again, you know, down the supermarket you can get lovely bluets, oyster mushrooms, shiitakes, all sorts. Just don't use button mushrooms or I might have to get you. Right, so here's the coup. Risotto is done. You've got a lovely sauce holding it all together. But what I need to do definitely while it's hot is get a knob of butter. I want parmesan. Nice handful of parmesan. Parmesan's really important in risottos. I'll tell you why. Because no matter what flavour you do, bar seafood, all the flavours link together. So I'm going to mix this up, beat that up. And you want it to be oozy. You really want it to be oozy. So you've got to feed it more stock. And I'd say, I guess, around about that much. If you go to any restaurant where the risotto can be put in one of those little metal moulds, then it's too thick. See? Oozy. Lid. Let it chill out. 3 minutes. Take it to the table and then eat it quickly. So while that's off the heat, let's have a little look over here. These mushrooms should be toasted. I'm going to get these mushrooms, I'm going to shake them in here like this. So I've got my toasted mushrooms in there. I'm going to pick some nice herbs. Go in the garden. You can use thyme tips, which are nice and juicy. You can get away with that. and then soft herbs. I love chervil, very, very nice. I've got some parsley here, tarragon, I've got a tiny bit of tarragon here. Let's just get this, roll it up, almost like those ladies in Cuba do with the cigars. Fold it up like that, and then slice it up like that. So just chop it up like this, so most of that into there, leave a bit for garnish. Now, tiny bit of oil. Pinch of salt, and then let's get a lemon. Squeeze about half of that lemon into there and just dress it with your fingers. And that is going to be incredible. So, while these are nice and warm and while the risotto's resting, let's plate it up. Look at that. And you can tell that it's gone nice and smooth and creamy. So, lovely. Just spoon this on. Beautiful risotto. Beautiful, look at that. Look how nice and smooth it is. And then we get a little handful of our beautiful mushrooms. And then we just splay them all over the top like that. And then I get a little knob of butter and I just put that in the middle there. And that'll start to melt. And slowly just give it a tiny, tiny little grate. Look at that. That is a proper risotto. Absolutely delicious, beautiful. Gennaro!